Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Hey, Jason, how are you?
Good morning, everybody. How you doing? I'm
Good.
doing good. Yeah.
Hello.
8 o'clock on Saturday is not always the best time when you have 4 boys and exhausted from 6 days of coaching. So my apologies for the delay.
Oh, no worries, no worries. And yeah, the time difference obviously affects. For us, we're like, oh, 11, no issue. And then he's like, 8 o'clock. He's like, are you sure?
8 o'clock.
So do you want to introduce yourself? Tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Jason Drees. I'm a professional performance coach. Been coaching about 7 years full time now. Kind of a combination of a life coach, business coach. Started coaching in my Tony Robbins days back in 2013. I worked for Tony Robbins. That's where I learned to coach. Been coaching on my own since about 2016. Started about 5 different businesses over the past 10 years. Raised startup funding, sold one, got sued at another. Kind of been through quite a few different things. And I'm a full-time coach, and I do what I love, and this is my gift I share with the world. And I help people go from point A to point B. And if they need help finding point B, I help them find it. If they need help from point A, I help them do that. And I kind of along the way, they end up playing life at the level of their absolute potential in a place of flow and ease. So that's kind of my gift, and that's what I do.
That's so cool. That's so interesting. And how did you come up? How did coaching become, come even into your mind to do something to start coaching?
How did I start coaching? Is that the question?
Yeah, how did that was that something you always wanted to do? You wanted to be a coach, or what just brought you into that you wanted to coach people?
Well, I was in enterprise technology sales for about 17 years. 46 years old, and then started in 96 in Southern California working in tech sales. Worked for some of the big tech companies like Avaya, Cisco, stuff like that. 2010, I kind of was working on this startup project, a company that makes race car driver cooling suits, actually. So we invented some products. I was looking to raise money, get help there, and also I was looking to be happier. I think I didn't know that at the time, but that's one of the benefits I got of coaching. So I hired a Tony Robbins coach. This was in 2010. Was in coaching for about 6 months, and then stopped after that. And then a couple years later, 2012, I went to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within 4-day event, and that just kind of really opened me up to who I was meant to be, because I always had a lot of doubt and my ability to share myself with the world. So I went to that event. I went to Date with Destiny, another Tony Robbins event, and I came out of that event basically a coach. And my coach asked me, "Have you ever thought about becoming a coach?" And this was in 2012, and it was the first time I was excited to study something in my entire life, and that thing just transformed me. And then 2013, I got into the coaching program at Tony Robbins, became a coach, left my high-paying tech job to take a job that pays on average $30K a year. As my family moved, had a second baby coming, and I got laid off from my tech job and had to build a coaching business with a gun to my head. So I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But basically the reason I coach is because I cannot not coach. If you would have told me 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you'd be an expert in people's mindsets and emotions, I would have laughed at you. But it's kind of my gift. And the more I coach, the more content flows through me. And I've discovered the ability to shift mindset, emotional pain, permanently in minutes. And Tony Robbins didn't even know how to do that. So that's how I became a coach.
That's amazing. And it's so true. I think you become amazing at what you do when it's you love what you do, because that's where your passion comes out of that. And I guess so then for starting, I guess our first question, I was going to start with mine because it's pretty generic, and then we'll go with some other people's questions. But mine was about COVID and our mindsets. And how do we work with our mindsets when, we're in this kind of tumultuous environment and we're not used to, we're used to like a few months ago, the highs and like amazing things happening, like how do we deal with that? Like these kind of situations, like how do we kind of like calm our minds or get ourselves on track or kind of like calm ourselves down, and just kind of like keep on pushing through?
Well, that's a great question, right? The thing you want to understand is that the how you're feeling about this situation, or any situation for that matter, is based on the meaning that you're giving that situation. And most people aren't aware of the meaning they're consciously giving the situation, right? So if you're feeling stressed right now or you're feeling fearful, that you could ask yourself, like, why am I feeling fearful? Why am I feeling stressed? And your brain will say, well, because of this COVID situation, or I'm afraid of what's going to happen, or like what's going on here. So basically the meaning, the life situation is being pushed through this filter, and that's creating your emotional reaction. Most people aren't aware that we have control of this filter. So their default filter that's running in their mindset about this situation is creating the effect they have,
Mm-hmm.
That's why you see people I'm seeing people in open spaces by themselves outside wearing a mask. And I'm like, there's not germs floating outside in the world today, So the thing is, you have absolute control. So like March 13th, March 13th was kind of when, oh my God, school's closing, everything's closing. And it felt really crazy. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? And then, is this really bad? And then, so it took me about a little less than 24 hours to get rebalanced, right? So I noticed on Saturday, I was like, what is going on? This is ridiculous. I'm like, well, okay, well, are there zombies outside my door? No, there's no zombies. I have 2 weeks of toilet paper. Okay, we're good. Like what's going on? Like everything's fine. Like so much panic and fear comes from these things, right?
Oh yeah,
this is like
100%.
a fear machine, right? And we're also going through a transition. But basically what I did is I stopped right there. And what I've helped all my clients over the past month is basically, what's the meaning you're giving this situation? And what's a better meaning? So the first thing I did is, what's the meaning of the situation? Well, I kind of know that society is due for a change, because that's what I believe in my heart. Like if you look at our major institutions, especially in the United States anyway, government, finance, healthcare, education, those major institutions are not focused on the good of the people. They're not. They were built in a mind-based capitalism gone wrong way. And even this $6 trillion spending bill shows it $5.5 trillion goes to the 1%, right? So it's just more of the same, right? So we're due for change. We all know that, right? We all know the world is changing. Is this the tip of that iceberg? I don't know. So I am choosing to believe that this is the tip of that iceberg. This is the beginning of that change. The meaning I gave the situation was, oh yeah, if someone interviews me in 2030, hey Jason, how do you have this amazing life you have today? Oh, with the financial abundance and the family and the connections. Well, basically it all started, and the meaning I gave it, hey, back in 2020 when we had that COVID virus, I decided that this is the time that I started leading my life at a higher level, and was the time when my impact expanded globally as a coach. And by giving it that meaning, my subconscious mind, the reticular activating system in my brain, is looking for examples of that. Now, keep in mind, I don't feel that way every day, because we're going through a radical awakening, shock. The collective is in shock. Whether you're sensitive to emotions or energies or not, you are part of the collective, right? Everybody on the planet as a collective has an emotion, right? So do cities, so do countries, right? And what's happening is that we've been whacked in the number one emotional need that everybody craves is certainty. Everybody, the number one emotional human need that everyone needs for survival is certainty. And it's the one thing that's been like chopped at our knees. It's gone, right? It's gone. So one thing you'll notice is if you look at your maybe mentors or business professionals or anybody you look up to who performs at a high level, you may have noticed that they bounced back to their default state quicker than most people. Have any of you noticed that?
Yes.
That's because those people create certainty inside themselves. They don't drive their certainty externally.
Mm-hmm.
That's also one of the most powerful ways to create financial abundance and success in your life, is to create success from within inside yourself and then not need that looking outward.
Mm-hmm.
So the collective is changing. It's going through these emotional things, and some of you can probably feel that more than others. But like, for example, yesterday I was pissed off. Monday and Tuesday I was pissed off. Just pissed off and angry. My wife's like, "Why are you pissed?" I'm like, "I'm pissed." She's like, "Why don't you dive into that?" I'm like, "No, I want to be pissed." 2 days later, I apologized to her. Sorry for being kind of an angry dickhead. But that was my process of growing, because there's a lot going on right now that we can't really comprehend, is my perspective, right? Energetically, we're waking up, we're seeing things differently. Like look at yourself, right? Haven't you noticed that personal growth is no longer optional, right? Like 20 years ago, you could take that personal growth and stuff it in the closet and put a laundry basket in front of it and forget about it for 10 years. You can't now, right? Growth is automatic. We're all growing and expanding.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave it a powerful meaning, and it's on the bottom of my monitor. I printed it out, and it's right here. So every time I look at my monitor, I see that new meaning. And when I get additional information that makes me angry or frustrated, I'm really angry about the whole mask situation right now, because masks don't, if an N95 mask filters to 0.3 microns and the coronavirus bacteria is 0.1 micron, what's the point, right? And the cloth masks don't even do anything. So keep in mind, that's my perspective. That's the reality I live in. That's my world, right? So, but basically there's this, that's why I was mad in the situation. So then I also created a truth. I chose a truth that I can stand on.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth that I choose to believe is that, do I believe that I went through the past 10 years of personal growth and transformation and financial struggle and pain to get to where I am today? Like the past 10 years of my personal growth, I wouldn't wish it on an enemy. It was not easy going through this journey. And do I really believe I went through all of that with this ability to transform people's lives, and through the challenge of raising 4 boys at the same time, because my 4 boys are all under 9 years old? Do I actually believe I went through the process of doing all of that challenge and struggle for the world to collapse?
Mm-hmm.
No way. Absolutely no way. No way. I know there's a meaning bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I know is that everyone experiences their own unique reality.
Yes.
Everyone. This world we live in, everybody gets their own unique reality. Some people right now are alone, feeling lonely and broke and scared and feeling ill and experiencing illness and death. Some people are experiencing connectedness, abundance, joy, expansion. Right now, my work has accelerated since this has started. I'm buried. I'm slammed in the most amazing way, because I put a lot of work to get into this frequency. I'm going to jump over to money. Sorry, is it okay if I go? Do you want to ask me? So basically create the meaning,
Mm-hmm.
and then create a truth that you can and like write these down, and then come back to those as you start to get thing. And if those of you are challenged financially, think about it this way. Your body at an atomic level is made of atoms. Money is made of atoms as well. The only difference between money and you, and the desk and chair and you, is the number of those atoms stuck together, right? Do we remember that from 7th grade science, right? We know that's true. An atom is 99.99999% free space. It's not solid. That's a scientific fact. So 0.00001% of our physical reality is actually physical. But we have this experience of physical. But basically, we are more than these bodies. We are more powerful than these bodies. What's actually going up is we're waking up to how powerful we really are. Every one of you is a walking piece of divinity on this planet, creating their reality. Most people just don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So at an atomic level, if you're experiencing a financial abundance in your life, and I'm just going to go to financial abundance because I'm assuming that's a hot topic for everybody. If you're experiencing financial abundance in your life, you are living your life at an atomic level in a frequency of because you're energy, right? You're all energy. And where you focus, by focus on on bad things, I have bad thoughts. If I focus on good things, I have good thoughts, right? So we are in control of the frequency that we operate in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Quantum field responds to that, right? There is a
Yeah.
thing called the multiverse. If you like that idea, theory, follow Joe Dispenza, okay? He talks a lot about that. The frequency you are operating in determines which version of the multiverse you start to experience and attract.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're at a higher level frequency, you literally start to, your brain's like, ever notice your brain's like a radio station? It turns in thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with your focus, you can shift the message, what you're receiving. But basically, let's just imagine you're in this space of frequency of abundance, and life is flowing financial abundance to you. And let's say, for example, you normally receive your financial abundance through these two channels: W-2 job, my investment income. Those are my channels where my financial abundance flows through, right? And if for some reason those channels get blocked, the financial abundance is just going to flow around and find another channel. Kind of like if you had a stream, a river that was flowing down, and you put a big boulder in front of it, the water would go around the boulder, right, and find a new path down. But what's actually happening in the world right now is most people are conditioned to believe they make their income from one job, and if they don't have the job, they don't make money. So they're therefore limiting what they're willing to accept. Because if you're in that flow, that frequency of abundance and expansion, that financial abundance in life is going to find you from a different direction. Now, it may be a completely different, had nothing to do with real estate, or completely different, but it's still there. Or it may be pooling up over here until the dam finally breaks over and flows through over there.
Mm-hmm. So what are tips to actually, or my time's already running out. There's already 10 minutes. That's weird. But
okay, I'm okay to keep going.
Okay, we might have to restart it again. But sorry, now I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say?
But does that make sense? Like, does that make sense, everybody? Like, so create the meaning, find a truth that you can believe, and remember, external reality is a mirror of inside you. So the space you operate from, the frequency that if you're operating in fear, you're going to experience fear. If your internal state is safety and certainty and knowing that everything's going to be fine, then that's what you're going to experience on the outside. Most people are looking at the physical reality, and based on physical reality, that's affecting their internal reality. It needs to go the other way around.
Mm-hmm. So how do we, because you're talking about the flows, and a lot of us will like block ourselves from like receiving more than we probably think we don't deserve. Like, are there techniques or something that will help us, to open up to receiving, more abundance, or techniques or something we can do to make sure that we're not blocking ourselves?
Well, the simple thing is to not, because you asked me, Diana, what are techniques to be open?
Mm-hmm.
What I will respond is saying, stop closing down.
Mm-hmm.
Because your default state is one of abundance.
Yeah. When
we start looking into how we make money and how we do things and that sort of thing, we actually, based on our past experience, our mindset, if we have a limited financial mindset, it starts to shut down our perspectives as we start to think and take actions. Because all of you right now, when I gave you this concept, in this moment, when you were listening to me in that concept, and you weren't thinking of anything to do, you were just listening, did you feel abundant?
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel aligned with the frequency?
Mm-hmm.
So that's aligned with it. Now, the next step is, how do I do that? How do I stay in that? That's implying that you have to do something to get back into it because you're not in it.
Mm-hmm.
Mindset can be very subtle. So it's really the best way to get into that frequency of abundance is to literally just come back to silence, stop thinking. If you like that concept of the river flowing and you can't block a river with a boulder, think of that. Like, I just say out loud, I am in the frequency of abundance. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, the amount of money you've been making over the past 3, 5, 10 years is also a frequency too. So if you're making 50 grand a year or 100 grand a year, that's the frequency. If you want to allow that in, hey, just ask yourself, what would that be like to experience 200,000 a year or 20,000 a month? And then when you hit 20, you say, what would that be like to experience 50,000 a month? What would that be like? Because when you ask yourself what it would be like to have that, you're starting to shift the mindset.
Yeah.
Are you noticing that some of these questions have you noticed when I ask you these questions, are you feeling any lighter? Are you having any new ideas or feeling more
I feel like my
open?
mind is expanding right now.
And that's what I do. I'm a mindset coach because you're always in a mindset. You're always looking. A mindset is basically your past beliefs, your past experiences, how you were parented, how you were schooled, your culture. All of that is this filter that we view the world from. Because and there's also versions of mindset in regards to like real estate investing, right? Version 1, newbies, Brandon Turner's version 600, right? Like you could take Brandon Turner and put him in one of your bodies and he would achieve radically different things over the next 6 months than you could, even with the same resources, because his mindset is much higher, right?
Yeah.
But the way, if you can often feel yourself and feel your way into a higher level mindset by saying, what would it feel like to have this? What would it be like to experience that?
So
can I ask
Dwayne
something?
or Marco, you can go ahead. Go ahead, Marco.
I just wanted to ask if is that a similar or is it different to like fake it till you make it? Is that kind of the same idea or a bit different?
Well, depends how you interpret fake it till you make it, but the way if by fake it till you make it, you mean put yourself in the mindset of the end result and act as if you're in the mindset of the end result, then by all means, fake it till you make it. Because the mindset you're operating from determines the strategies that you will think of. It determines the ideas that you have. The level of mindset you have will determine if you go to, like Quiznos or Togo's for lunch. Because you may have go to Togo's and get a sandwich every single day, but as your mindset expands, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to Subway for lunch today, and you go over there. Now you meet a new contact that explodes your business, right? Mindset, the level of thinking you operate from is like everything, right? And that's the reason why. Like, are you feeling less? I'm not sure if you were feeling fearful, but are all of you? I'll get back to your question in a second, Marco. But are all of you feeling less fear or stress about this COVID situation after the perspective I gave you? Yes?
Definitely
No?
feels less.
Yes, absolutely.
Because just one second, Marco. Because what I did is I took your perspective really high. So the way to the number and the way I shifted your mind, the simplest way to shift your mindset is to view the situation from a different perspective. I didn't just take it to a human being. I took it to this, you're a walking piece, you're a piece of God, ownership of your planet. I gave you some references that seem to make sense because it's grounded on some, and all of a sudden you see this perspective up here, and now that's shifted your pattern. If you get stuck, you're stuck, it's because your perspective is stuck.
So my question that I've got is I'm actually making a pretty monumental sort of shift personally over the last little while. And I'm spinning a lot of plates and having a hard time spinning all of them well. How do you choose which plate to spin and which plate to, you still need to pay attention to, but kind of put on the back burner?
Do I have permission to coach you right now? Would you like some coaching?
Yeah. I would love some coaching. Yeah.
So is it actually you don't know which one to stop spinning, or you aren't making the decision to stop spinning one of them?
Well, actually, one of the plates that I'm worried about stopping spinning is that security plate. So I teach, but that teaching takes away from me building a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that security plate, the one that pays the mortgage and all of that stuff, actually seems to be getting in the way of everything else that I really want. So I've just got my mortgage agent license, and I want to build a business there and invest in real estate. And I'm also doing some investing in the stock market. But the teaching component really does, it's a big mental drag for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is kind of we'll take more than just a couple minutes. This is kind of a longer conversation, but what I would suggest before I would say anything, suggestions, I'd be curious, like, are you married? Are you single? Are there other sources of income? How much is your new income generating? Is your school income paying all of it? Right. Right now, I would say, like, maybe you need to make a decision-making model.
Okay.
Like, such as, these are the factors that are important in this decision-making process. Like, number one, I need to pay the bills overhead because I'm a single source of income. Or number two, my partner generates a good amount of money, so I need to get my income back within 6 months. Like, whatever that looks like for you, right? What's that model? Because it's very easy to get excited and, like, jump off the cliff and start building the plane on the way down. I know, I've done it. That's my nature, right? My wife is the opposite of that. Clearly I was put in her life to help her grow. But I would also put into account that we're in unprecedented times right now. We don't know what's going on, and as much as we can operate our internal frequency at the highest level, at some point we have to interact externally as well. So what I'm saying to clients who are making big decisions right now is, I'd say, what is the smart decision to do right now? And I know there's an emotional attachment. The new thing's super exciting. I clearly understand that. And the old one sucks. But I know you like money. How would you feel if you switched next week and the new thing got dragged out 4 months because banks stopped lending money and the market just tanked? How'd you feel in 4 months if you have no money coming in, right? So now, keep in mind, that's my perspective, right? I'm just saying being cautious. Now, that doesn't mean that there's a windfall right outside your window that you may be super excited about. And what I would say in the meantime, you may have to do both. Grind it out. I've had a side hustle up until basically the last year. I've had a side hustle for 10 years. I've worked weekends for 10 years. I've worked evenings for 10 years. Do both. And make a smart decision. Does that help?
Yep.
Because the thing is, you know the answer. You know the answer, don't you? Yeah, I know the answer.
Well, we were going to keep. So my wife's advice was to keep sort of one foot in the pond. Now my next contract got canceled thanks to COVID. The schools are shut down. My next contract was teaching high school students. So and that's just completely gone out the window. So plan A is a little bit hurt at the moment.
So life is helping you get what you want. No next contract, do something else.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Marco, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, Marco, I think we got cut off there.
There we go. So I think there was another question. It's there's in our new. It's always, I guess, it's been growing in our society where there's been online presence. There's a lot of distractions, and then there's this pressure to always be up to date and be able to you're always posting, and then there's trainings that you want to do, and then webinars, Life's Hard Knocks. There's just everything pulling you every direction, and then you're online, and online is you hear the ding, and you're doing something, and the ding takes you into the different direction, and there's this distraction in your brain Yeah, and your brain is like, it's just being split in so many ways. And
That sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it is exhausting.
When you put it like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So how do we, like, how do we just bring this thing together and like maybe take off my notifications, for example, and maybe cut that out so I'm not constantly being pinged. I'm not sure. I just, like, how do I focus? I'm having a tough time focusing for an hour because I get distracted by something else. It's always something else distracting me.
So what specifically are you asking me?
How do I maintain my focus over a period of time that I might set for myself? So if I set an agenda, like I have a daily routine, how do I stay on top of that daily routine throughout the entire day?
Now, are you physically tired right now?
No, not right now. No.
Have you been overworked the past week or two?
Just some personal matters that causing me some emotional strain.
Are you taking breaks throughout the day from working?
Yes.
Like where you, like, not like I stop working and I go check my phone on Facebook, like you literally stop doing all input.
Yes, but not like, I might do it once in the day.
It's
Maybe
funny.
I need to do.
It's funny. I talk to people. They're like, "Oh my God, I'm so tired," and I'm like, "Well, here's what you should do. You should take a 20-minute break in the morning, a 20-minute break in the afternoon, and you should take 30 minutes, 45 minutes for lunch." And they're like, "Oh my God, that's amazing!" And so in the United States, like the government portion that manages worker health is called OSHA. Right? Those are OSHA health guidelines, right? Right? But let's just realize that everybody is overworking themselves to death. And with social media, our brain is constantly bombarded. So what's actually happening, and I'm guessing if we dove into this deeper, Marco, you'd probably say, well, I'm good at focusing in the morning, but the late morning and the afternoon is probably harder.
Yep.
And I'm in these situations where I've got 2 emails half written and 2 web pages up and a form filled out, and you're bouncing between them. That means your brain is tired. You are out of focus. Is like a gas tank. It's empty. You're grinding gears.
Okay.
So you need to turn off all notifications on all your devices, and literally every 2 hours take a 15-minute break, or every 90 minutes take a 15-minute break. And during that 15-minute break, have zero input. Go outside. Go for a walk.
Okay.
You're just
Thank
overworking.
you.
You're just overworking. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Or you can do 30-minute timers. Like when I wanted to get a lot done, I would set a timer on my iPad and I'd set it up on my desk. It's a really big timer. I'd hit 30 minutes. I would do nothing for 30 minutes but this one thing. When that went off, I would take a 5 or 10-minute break and I would do it again. Timers can make you really productive. There's also a website called Egg Timer. If you go to Egg Timer, you can put in any time and your browser will pop open too. So I do that sometimes.
Okay. Thank you.
But take breaks. Yeah.
Okay.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Joshua.
Yeah. What's up, man? I want to go back to the mindset kind of stuff, like you were talking, like flowing in abundance, and I want to go back maybe into some of your experience and ask, like, when you're going through your big life change, that kind of monumental time with the Tony Robbins, sessions and stuff like that. What was like the biggest aha like moment that you had, like where it was like, oh my gosh, if I had to just grasp this concept like 10 years ago, I can't even imagine where I'd be today?
Well, the biggest one was I'm supposed to be a coach.
Okay.
That's the biggest one. That was the earth shattering. Yeah, I'm supposed to be a coach. Aha.
Yeah. So going a little bit deeper into that, was it just because that's like almost like a surface level thing, like underneath that, what was that, like a confidence that you didn't have before, that you thought maybe like, oh, I never thought that I would be, have enough to offer as a coach, or?
No, that one wasn't any deeper than that, because that was a radical life shift in direction
Okay.
for me.
Cool.
Mhm.
Fair enough.
But the interesting, like, I think the other aha moment I've had this year is that everybody is walking around the world with a mask on, you know. My mask started in, one of my biggest masks started in like 7th grade. I clearly remember this day. It was the last day of school in 7th grade. You know, it was the first time we got yearbooks and everybody's signing them. And I was like, sign my yearbook and all that stuff. And I go home and I start reading what everybody wrote. And like 50 or 70% of the people said, "You're weird." That's what they
Nice.
said. They said, "You're weird or strange." And when I think back, I can remember that was like the first year that I was truly authentically myself. And everybody thought it was weird. And then from that point onward, I didn't like being called weird. So I started projecting a different version of myself to the world so I can get a different response out of people that I liked.
Yeah.
Because back then I was seeking external validation for my self-confidence.
Yeah.
And it wasn't till I actually didn't realize this. This is a big progression over the past 10 years, but I didn't become consciously aware of this shift until like November, December. And basically what I realized is that I don't have self-judgment anymore. I don't look back and wish I did something different anymore. Because if I look at what has happened in me growing financially, like to give you an idea, like in 2013, 2014, when I started coaching, we were on food assistance from the state because I was making such little money when I started. Because coaching at Tony Robbins doesn't pay a lot, right? You don't make a lot of money in coaching unless you pay for yourself, unless you have your own coaching business. So we're on food assistance from the state. I'm struggling to learn how to coach and get clients and build my own personal coaching business. My wife is going to the grocery store and people are buying us groceries because our cards are being declined. Like, it was hard. It was really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so the financial struggle, because I didn't grow up in financial abundance, but it was becoming who I am today financially required me to grow through all of that. And when I stopped hiding myself from the world and I started authentically sharing myself to the world, that's when my natural gifts started to shine. My ability to coach went through the roof. My ability to read people went through the roof. My financial abundance just radically accelerated, right? The first 4 months of this year, I made what I did all of last year. Like my business is just booming. I'm having so much fun. I'm in this place of flow. And it really starts with being my authentic self and not being afraid to share it. Because when you finally just allow yourself to be human and flawed like everybody else, and you stop trying to sort of seek external validation, that's when you're finally yourself. And if people don't like me, they don't like me. That's not, that's their choice. But that's where your gifts and your unique path are going to shine, is when you stop projecting masks of yourself to the world. Because the world needs each and every one of you as you uniquely are. You're not supposed to be, the world doesn't need you as a clone of somebody else.
Yeah.
Everyone has unique gifts. And the more you own those and more you open those and it really comes down to unconditional self-acceptance. Like, are you going to accept yourself? Like, this is what your face looks like. This is what your nose looks like. This is what your bank account looks like. This is what your kids, your relationships. It is what it is right now. You can judge it or not, but it is what it is. Now you can grow and expand and change that, but the judgment only hurts you. So that was like the biggest, probably transformational aha.
Okay, sweet. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
And for your aha, when you before figuring it out, like I'm assuming, like, what made you realize of teaching? Like what was exactly, like, what caused the aha of teaching, like, that I want to be a coach? Like, was there something that someone said, or was it just like things that you realized? in
It
you?
was a question. My coach asked me, have you ever thought about being a coach? And it was like an explosion in my head.
Those mindset where you're like, boom, you're like, oh my God, I can't
It
believe
was
that never came into my mind.
It was an earth-shattering revelation. Just like, wow. What gave you the courage to work through that? Work through what?
Work through having to use food stamps when you decide to make your career change, and like move forward, not go back to your safe place, because that must have been hard.
There was no safe place.
Oh, so there was no job to go back to, no.
Well, coincidentally, the jobs I had, like my wife and I had just moved from the Bay Area to near Sacramento, which is about 100 miles. And I'd been in the tech industry there for like 15 years. And no, 12 years. And prior to our move in 2013, you know, sales guys, engineers, they always just drove back and forth from Sacramento to the Bay Area. It was never really a big deal. So I actually got laid off on my tech job. One of my tech jobs as I started coaching. I did look for new jobs. I did interview new jobs. And I kept running into, we need somebody in the Bay Area, not Sacramento. And so I attempted to find jobs that I didn't want, but there was no safe space. It was driving forward, right? And I also made the decision somewhere along the line that if something inside me doesn't feel good, I'm going to look at it, because I ignored it for 27 years and I was done ignoring it. So I basically start to look at whatever's in there, because the thing is, there's this fallacy that looking at it is painful. Looking at emotional pain inside you or anything that doesn't feel good, there's this fallacy that looking at it is going to be extremely painful. But the reality is, not looking at it and feeling it for years is exponentially more painful than taking the time to look at it and clean out that closet, right? But you can't clean it out until you're there. And the thing is, like, when you start taking ownership of stuff, you can change you have control of everything inside you. You can change everything inside you. And the thing is, there's this level of life that people play life at. And then there's the level of their pure potential. And I've been playing the path of my pure potential for the most part. I wouldn't say I'm at my absolute potential physically, but every else area of my life is pretty awesome. I probably could expand my parenting skills even more than I am in presence.
Can't we all?
Can't we all? Right? Yeah. But for the most part, I did it in a very reckless way, because I'm an extremely low S-disc profile. So risk doesn't even come into my equation at all. If there's a cliff, I just jump off it, right? But I never stop working to make it right. So that's kind of, I'm tireless. I will continue, because I've been grinding to create financial abundance for my family. And, you know, it's taken like 8 years to get it, you know? So it was just keep going.
Yeah, my wife's got a bungee cord attached to my belt loop.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, there's the level that we play at, and there's the level that we see other people play at. And sometimes when we see other people playing at that level, you can feel bad, because a part of you knows that you could be playing at that level too. And that doesn't mean you're going to be a social media phenom, right? It could be you're just an amazing parent, or you're amazing in your community. Everybody is born to be outstanding. It's the journey of life. And the thing is, the decision, like that, how you start walking your path to greatness isn't creating financial abundance, isn't by doing all these amazing things and doing 5 a.m. cold showers and working out and having 6-pack ab. That's not how you do it. It's doing what you say you're going to do, doing what you know you can do, and not holding back. That's being outstanding. And the thing is, like, a lot of people have this fear of playing at the level of their ultimate potential. And they have this fear of playing at their ultimate potential because they think it's going to be scary or difficult or whatever, right? Or they're going to be judged or not accepted, or they're going to try to do this and people are going to not give them the acknowledgement. But the thing is, like, once you become the person you need to become to start walking that path to greatness, all of that fear disappears instantly. Instantly. It's a fallacy. It's fake. It's artificial. And the difference between your what's easy and what's possible is not a mindset. It's not a coach. It's a decision. Decision. I am going to play my life at this level. Is it going to work? I don't know. But I'm going to try. I'm going to go. It's a decision to play at that level. Most of the questions I get in coaching, people already know the answer to. They've just gotten to a pattern of being comfortable, setting a big goal and not following through because they just set another big goal and not follow through. I actually ate dog food to kind of break that habit in myself. If you search my name on YouTube, you'll find video of me eating dog food. So, but you don't have to go to that extreme like some of the Tony Robbins stuff we did, but just allow yourself to be human and be great and follow that. Everybody's got a unique path. Everybody's great. And the core of it is loving yourself unconditionally and accepting yourself unconditionally. Because we're going through this, every one of us here, I'm not aware, I don't think anybody's a fully enlightened being here yet, right? It's like we're born in duality, right? We have this and we have this. These two things are opposites of each other, right? This thing here has the potential to love everything on the planet unconditionally, right? Everything. This thing here wants to battle and fight and win and be the best and have everything for themselves. And we're going through the integration of those two. And this is part of our mammalian brain that we're born into. That's a survival mechanism that keeps us alive. And this is who we really are. And what's happening right now is we're going through when you hear awakening, you hear the integration of your ego and your heart and your mind and who you really are. And what's going on in society right now, we live in a very mind-based society. And everybody's starting to wake up. And we're in the process of shifting from a mind-based to a heart-centered society. And that's why all the corruption's coming out. And that's why all the stuff that's based on profit and not the best for everybody is starting to come out. At least that's what I believe.
That's amazing to hear. Yeah, so interesting. Do you have time for one more question? Does anyone have one more question? Do you have time or?
Go ahead.
That's okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Amanda, not Roberta. That's my husband's name.
Okay.
Just from the perspective of this being a real estate investment group, so people very entrepreneurial, but in various stages of the journey of embarking on that. Obviously, there's a financial piece there that you acknowledged, but is there anything specific that you would recommend for people that are, say, in their beginning to intermediate stages of, new investment? I know you talk about money. It's kind of a general question, but I'm kind of trying to frame it in the group of where this is and say, what would be one thing that you think would be really helpful to us sort of in this place and time?
Well, I just gave you everything I thought was really helpful. What's another?
Okay, fair.
Ask me more specifically. What's the real question you want to ask me?
Okay, so the real question that I would want to ask you is,
that one, yeah, that question.
Yeah, I'm going to let someone else go because I don't want to take up the time, but I'll think about it and I'll send a message maybe after, just because I don't want to waste the last few minutes.
It's not a waste. Go ahead, ask.
Okay.
It's not a waste.
All right.
Not a waste.
So then, what would your advice be around dealing with when you say, like, maintaining your vibrational frequency around your new path? you know, when you have doubts and stuff creep in, is there ways of reconnecting with that if that isn't covered already by something you said?
So if you are saying, as I am walking my path to greatness, I'm feeling uncomfortable at certain times. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I'm kind of intuitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so I don't know. Do you guys know that you know who Brandon Turner is? Do you guys know I coach Brandon Turner? So Brandon Turner is my client, right? I can't teach him anything about real estate. I can't. But I can help him as he expands through comfort zones, because that emotion you're feeling is probably, if you actually dove into what that feeling actually was, it may not be so much as a negative emotion, so much as a new feeling. Because you remember we talked, you're made of atoms, right? You're a being. And when you have a shift in you, the energy of you shifts, and we feel that in our body. When we expand, like you move to a new frequency, we feel expansion. And some of you may be feeling that right now. You may be feeling a little weird in your bodies from this call, because I'm pushing your mindset out a little bit, which shifts your frequency and your energy. So the thing is, like, new is not bad, it's just new. A lot of times if you just sit and breathe for a second, it'll normalize and go away, as opposed to be doing about things. You're doing the dishes and they're like taking care of the house, and you're thinking of, it's kind of in that peripheral. It feels really bad, but if you sit with it for a second, I'm just a little nervous because I'm going to a second property or new property. There is an expansion of your comfort zone that you're feeling. That could be it. Right? The thing that you want to really ground yourself in is your decision. Because we can get in this pattern of the decision-making model, and I think I got a video on Instagram about this, but basically there's two different ways we make decisions. The first way, we go decide, plan, commit. Okay, I want this target. Can I create a plan to do it? And once I get a plan, I'll commit to the target, right? Decide, plan, commit. We do that. The other thing we do is decide, this is the target, commit, yes, it's gonna happen. 3, figure out how. Everyone on this call has done both of those in their lives. The problem is decide, plan, commit runs subconsciously. We're driving down the road. Ooh, look at that shiny thing. Okay, how do I get that? So the plans are always running. When you're focusing on a big target, I'm going to hit my next property in the next 6 months. I'm going to be prepared to buy 3 properties in 6 months in case property market values tank. I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity. Do I know how? No, but I'm going to figure it out. So make the decision be the grounding. This is my target. I'm going to make it. Do I know how? No, but is that going to stop me? No. Then you get resourceful. Decision is the grounding factor there that can hold you through as your mindset grows and expands. The thing that held me firm was, I'm not going to stop until I reach a level of financial abundance, because I spent 10 years, I'm 46 years old. Even if I went back and got a decent paying tech job making $150, $200 a year, that's not going to be enough money to put 4 kids in the future. So I'm like, I'm not going to stop. I have to do something bigger.
So you're working that muscle of deciding, committing, and trusting that everything you need is going to come to you as long as you keep putting one foot in front of the other, and
not trusting. You're deciding that it's going to you're not going to stop until you get it.
Okay.
And that there's a certainty in that, right? There's a certainty in that. You can decide right now that this coronavirus thing is not going to impact me. You could decide right now that this coronavirus thing is going to be the best thing that ever happened to me personally. Because the best thing each of you could do right now is thrive. The world, because if you thrive and you grow and you expand, you can spread happiness, impact the people around you. If you have more financial abundance, you can help those. The last thing the world needs is more scared people who are broke at home.
That's so true.
So, and you are one of the few people that are actually putting in the time and effort to grow and expand. Besides, this is my job, that's what I do. You're putting in the time and effort. you are in like the 5%.
Yeah.
So don't be in the 5% in 5 years. Be in the 1% then. The difference between the 5% and the 1% is a decision. I'm going to follow the path. You are a walking piece of divinity. You're a piece of God. If you forgot that, read Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. You guys read that? Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. 25-year-old book. Will help you kind of understand how powerful you really are. If you like to get into the more scientific, there's a book by Dane Heer, H-E-E-R, called Being You, Changing the World. When I read, a lot of the perspective I'm coaching and talking to you from was, I got a lot of influence from those two books I read about 8 months ago. Conversations with God really helps me solidify that, whether you call it God or life or universe, whatever it is, like I'm a piece of that. I am a piece of that. I'm not just this body that's dead. Like for all, what I'm also choosing to understand right now is that, you know something? I've probably been preparing for thousands of lifetimes for this specific one.
Thank you so much for all
right?
thank you so much for all your information. I think everyone got a lot of value out of this, right? And I'm pretty sure everyone probably wants to have some contact information or some details from you if they can get in contact. Is that
I started following you. Way to go.
Awesome. Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. You can go to my website, Jason Drees Coaching, like trees with a D, Jason Drees Coaching.com. You can find a lot of information about my coaching there. I have other coaches that work with me as well. So if you're interested in coaching, you can reach out and we can do an intro session and basically match you with a coach that's the best for you. Maybe me, maybe somebody else. I'm actually close to capacity right now. And I'm also launching a mastermind for my clients and a small select people outside my current clients in May, that's going to have guest speakers and accountability groups and stuff like that in an online forum that's starting next month too. So if you're interested in any of that, you can shoot me a message. If you're interested in an intro session, you can go to jasondreescoaching.com and click on a link there, and that'll give you a time you can book on the calendar for coaching if you're interested. But my suggestion to you is like all of your homework assignments, okay? Number one is create a new meaning for the coronavirus. What does this mean for you? So think about, I know I got 3 minutes, so I'm gonna talk fast. So think about it like this. You're interviewed in 2030, and they say, oh my God, hey Mike, how's your life so amazing? Mike goes, yeah, it all started in 2020. I was all freaked out from the virus, and then I made this decision. I gave it this meaning, and I made this decision. Okay? What is the meaning you're giving it? What is the decision you're making? And what is the truth that you're choosing to found? Like, that's all of your homework. So all of you need to do that before your next call. Hold them accountable, Diana.
Okay, I'll do it. Thank you so much.
Meaning, decision, and what was the third?
The meaning, create a meaning for what this coronavirus time is.
Yeah.
Make a decision now.
Yeah.
And then also create the truth. Remember I said, like, I didn't get this far in life to have the world fall apart. Like, whatever truth you can believe that can ground you, that when you may have ups and downs, you go back to that truth.
Okay.
Because that creates certainty, right? That's how you create certainty from within.
Okay, thank you. That's great, Jason. Thank you.
So we're recording this, so I'll be able to post it. So if you guys missed anything or want to review it, you can watch the video again. So don't worry, it's all gonna be there.
Yeah, and if anybody is interested in like a coaching session on Instagram, let me know, because I like to do live coaching on Instagram to share with people. So if somebody wants to be coached on Instagram live, let me know.
Okay. I might take you up on that one.
When Tony Robbins says, if I can't, then I must. If I can't, then I must. If you can't do that social media post, then you must too. If I can't, then I must. It's how you keep pushing through. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to all of you.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
thank
Jason.
you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining our meetup. It
Jason.
was really fun having you here. And I think everyone else also enjoyed it too.
Yeah,
No,
thank
I
you.
love Canadians. They're always nice. They're much nicer than Americans are. We're kind of grumpy over here.
Yeah. That's nice. Thanks.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Okay, bye. Take care.
Bye.
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 Thanks, Diana.
No
Thanks,
Thank you,
problem.
Diana. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Di.
We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys like around 1 o'clock, right? I think everyone's
Yeah,
gonna be there for
yeah.
1
Conference
o'clock.
one.
So we'll
Yeah,
see you guys
yeah.
all there 1 o'clock.
Okay, bye.
Yeah,
Bye
see ya.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.